Welcome to December's edition of Blank Canvas with Plinko Solutions, a project brought to you around AI and accessibility. So I had went from doing these episodes pretty much daily for about a month and some change, and then I took a big break. Started a new contract teaching at a private school. For the last 2.5 months, it's been interesting kind of calibrating. I've had a good amount of I don't want to say losses, but when your bandwidth gets stretched, you also mentally try to stretch to reach to it. And I got to a common place that a lot of solo founders get to, where they stretch themselves too thin. I just wanted to share a few things today that haven't been working, that I've been working on, or working on the work until it works on me, right? Just boulders, moving up mountains, and kind of expressing where my headspace is with all of that. So today's a bit more of like a kind of, I want to say diary or documented kind of experience, but let me take you guys through it. So recently, with the AI and automation front, there's been a good amount of traction whenever I push outbound. However, I recognized that the vehicle in which I'm doing so, is a solo vehicle. So in order to move further, faster, I need to build a bigger vehicle. When I say vehicle, what am I referring to? I'm referring to surface area that I cover upon movement, meaning the actions I take. What kind of achievements and progress and good pressure and targets can I hit while executing, right? So what does that mean in the sense of business? Business, we're talking about sales, marketing, finance, and operations, right? As an AI automation agency, a large part behind that is delivering AI projects, kind of like a dev shop, but specifically in the vein of AI and automation. So not building necessarily direct software, but building microservices, which is features within existing software that are proven to be useful for businesses. So that's a mouthful, right? That's a lot. What does that look like? One of my core clients is a director of a tax firm. He manages across a team of four sales teams, 14 sales reps. Notice that constantly they're trying to book follow-ups within their prospects and they're outbound calling every day. They do it manually. So I built a quick little feature inside of Monday.com using the automations that allows them to put in a date. It'll pull their email and then automatically send it. And they went from doing 600 calls a day to 900 calls a day, right? In a downturn, that's the means of making the quarterly quotas, So things like that. That's an example of a story. Right now, there's a few different moving parts on my table as an individual business. So let's take you guys through it. Plinko solutions exist on many different kind of, call it prisms, but dimensions is a better way to frame it, right? There is the company, right? So stuff I was talking about, the sales, operative, financial, like what kind of longevity plan am I building for myself to hit my own revenue goals as a business and as a functioning oxygen tank? Can I even call myself a business if when I take my foot off the gas, it doesn't produce any money? I don't know, right? I've had some people where I've explained kind of what I've got going on as a sole proprietor, and they're like, yeah, you've got not a hobby, but it's not the business that I would like. So taking that in stride, it's been a year since I've launched, end of December exactly. Top of that, I have a lot of goals and ambitions for the content and community side. I've been building good traction within school, right? This is kind of the ground zero for automation. As you can tell, there's a lot of different groups at any given moment. They all have, 25K members, between 100 and 500 online. This one's a smaller one, focused on cybersecurity. This one, good old Tony and Dean, 64K, right? Any given moment, 300 to I've seen as high as 1.5K online, meaning when I go here and post, I'll be able to catch some traction, no problem, right? Just doing so daily has kind of been the prescription. Nate Herks, 202K, around 600 online, right? Not a bad number. Good old Liam, 272, 567 online. I've seen this climb as well. and the smaller groups as well. Now, there's a number of these that I'm also a part of, but I try my best to kind of circulate daily amongst the high performing ones. So you'll notice kind of when I've stopped posting YouTube as much, I got into the groove of daily activities within school. Now, what needs to happen with this is while I'm doing that, I also need to do the same front for LinkedIn, YouTube, Reddit, and then potentially Sora or Instagram, right? This kind of short feed. Reason being, business owners, especially with LinkedIn, live here. I've been using LinkedIn primarily as a means for myself, as an extension of what I can do career-wise, and Plinko Solutions kind of takes a backseat on that. Reason being, too, is Plinko Solutions, the story behind it that you discover when you first kind of go through it is very minimal, right? And as a company, as a business, right, I need to be able to storytell the brand, especially what we do from an impact standpoint. My website says nothing about that. Right now, it's kind of a fragment of different pieces kind of put together, and I need to spend time contemplating the sort of answer engine optimization approach, right? What am I going to do to actually tell a story through this page? So I'm scrolling through it very much with brevity because it's going to be shaken. It has to go through a lens of innovation and rebirth and entrepreneurship. When I say that, I'm talking about, Christmas time, holidays. I had a lot of goals that didn't get hit that I wanted to, right? Like having those daily activities across those different platforms, I was trying to set up automations to do that. And I've been making progress with that, slowly but surely. I, the other day was using Kimmy, I'll show you here. I was using several language models to kind of figure this stuff out in terms of how to story brand, basically apply as many thinking models in the same direction of trying to solve what I'm trying to work on. So Kimmy was an example. Perplexity Pro is an example, right? So there's Kimmy. It's really great for its UI and visual kind of mock-up stuff. I was using Grok. You guys are familiar with that. Using Qwen. Qwen is less familiar, but phenomenal because of its token window and context. It's actually insane. Like no other free tools like this exist that are as wide. DeepSeek, Gemini. Gemini has been an interesting one, especially from the realm of anti-gravity. I've been hitting the daily quotas with this. As of today, they actually moved it from daily to weekly quotas, so I'm really interested to see what that limit looks like. But I've been running with this pretty much daily since it's come out, building job scout, scraping, things like that, things that help propel the business forward and also myself. So that's a lot, right? Where does that kind of come back to? The core revenue model that drives money into the business is the ability to develop automations and integrate it into businesses, right? All of these other vehicles, I don't want to say other vehicles, all these other parts of the vehicle, this would be the gasoline, right? These things help get me in the door and allow me to get more gasoline, if that makes metaphorical sense, more money, right? But without doing this, there's no money coming in anyways, right? So that means in terms of time, the idea behind figuring out how to spend my energy is a meditative process, and you cannot stay in that meditative process without taking action and getting data. I know from the experience of the last, however many months, I want to say 6 to 8 months really, where I pour more than 50% of the time in a given month towards dev and integration and the company. Mostly dev and integration. Content community started to take a bit more of a recent pull, right? Hence the YouTube uploads and whatnot. So there's a lot of legwork being done, and that's the nature of it. It's busy, right? But being busy and tired and not having these wins, for example, I know I've been going on for quite a bit. So let me walk you guys through an example. I intended to do a big launch with this school community that I have. And I have already an existing course that teaches fairly dense, teaches you how to use AI. I have another one that's a bit more consumer focused, where it takes you through this belt of possibility around how to use AI to become more of a citizen developer, meaning a non technical professional that can use AI for the betterment of their time, right? And it's usually, you know, this is usually buried behind marketing and especially the concept with AI twins and creating AI assistants and doing so using proper architecture. This is stuff that's kind of waved and it's out there, it's public. But condensed and made accessible is a craft of authorship. And that's kind of what I've been looking to do. So I've spent God knows how long, and I'm going to continue to spend it just trying to get the speed, quality, and documentation all up to line. I had a personal operating system thing going, and it ran into some errors with some server hosting at the end of it. The dashboards as well was also glitching. So I was like, okay, I can't necessarily push this as a complete, fully shipped thing just yet. The job scraper I've been using, and I've been getting interviews, but it's only been around for, 2.5 weeks? And today, I actually scheduled my day I just had one meeting where I was demoing this, and then I was recording. The demo, after 2 hours, didn't work. It was supposed to work within an hour, but 2 hours deep, which was already a lot to ask of the other person, it kept breaking. It kept hallucinating. And I think part of it was me trying to cut corners, trying to condense it instead of just following this. I was jumping around a bunch, brain fog, whatever it was. Like I said, I've been sick. So getting back into it, I just absolutely did not pull this off well. Then I tried to record. Of course, it still didn't work. So that recording, I was like, I'm going to put that on the shelf. And then I recorded the other sections, thankfully, pretty much well. They're still very high level, and I wasn't able to demo anti-gravity as much. So yeah, complications, and I'm not happy about it. So took a walk, had some food, took a shower. Now I'm here recording, documenting the process, right? So the biggest thing, right, is staying close to the vision, staying close to the North Star. I figured to share this quick update, just to kind of give you guys in the hoop of things. I know I haven't been as consistent across a lot of fronts, and it's all top of mind, juggling, starting new things and getting into the groove. And I think 2026 is going to be a different stride. I'm hoping to get more balance into my life, looking for more opportunities that return that to me, and allow me to use my mind as an extension of what's possible, right? And to lean into that belt of possibility in a way that meaningfully serves you, meaningfully serves the people I care about. Yeah. I think on that stride too, tomorrow is my 4 years with a partner of mine, that I hope to see another 4 with, but regardless. I think about what kind of foundations I set for myself and what building blocks am I putting in front of me that we can stand on, How can I be able to provide more? I'm grateful to say that Plinko Solutions has kept those lights on for the past, I don't say lights on, be that dramatic. It's mostly bills and groceries, but getting this new position, getting into a place where, there were days, weeks where things I'm just I don't know how to get on the other side of this. So that's all I needed to focus on. And now that I'm on the other side of some of it, not all of it, but there's these juggling acts that keep falling through the cracks. And I just have to have more patience with that. Recognize the good pressure, right? And keeping the future tense, and trusting it, right? I have a lot of faith behind everything that's happening, what we're all doing. So anyways, enough of that. I'm hoping goal-wise and just truth-wise, especially with YouTube, is to do more documentation, especially of my thinking process and just getting out of my way of being more public-facing in that. And I understand there are ways with YouTube to do better with packaging as well with LinkedIn and everywhere else too. But you know what? It's life. We just got to keep swinging, seeing what we could do. All right. Anyways, on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one.